Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you back with me here today and looking forward to getting into another Cabral HouseCall show. This is where we answer our global health community's online questions that come in each and every week. We're getting to those that came in around January 12th, 13th, right around there. Looking forward to getting into these questions. Again, we're about 10 to 12 weeks or so in the queue for questions that have come in. We will absolutely get to your question in the order that it's come in. And what my team is also doing now, since essentially it was a request from you, is that we are going through the questions, and those questions that can be answered by my team, meaning like they're specific, whether it be lab-based, etc., they're going to take care of it. And then I will continue to work on all of the questions that come in. So really happy to be able to do this. Excited that I'm able to reach so many people all over the world. And so thank you again for your support, your listens, your downloads, and your shares. And of course, for everyone that reviews the Cabral Concept on iTunes or their favorite media player, I read every single review and I very much appreciate that. So thank you. What I want to do is surprise everyone here today, and those people that tune into the weekend house calls get to hear this first, and especially the day that it comes out. We are offering a special pop-up. This is for our podcast and newsletter community only. You will not see it advertised on Equilibrium Nutrition or anywhere else. We are doing a special 10% off pop-up offer on all labs. We've only done this once before, and it was during the holidays. And so I'm excited to be able to do this for our community. It's something I talked to my team about. There's a little bit of logistics involved because we have to build more labs. They're not our labs, but we still have to build them from the lab companies. I have to sign all of the forms, get them to our fulfillment house. All my coaches have to be ready to do increased coaching calls. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. But I wanted to do this, and here's why. I personally run all of my big 5 labs. Now, I do other labs around the new year, no doubt about it, but I do all of my big 5 labs right around March, April, every single year. And it's springtime in Boston, or getting to be springtime in Boston. And I want to re-engage in my own health at a much deeper level. I simply no longer guess. I don't guess what my numbers are. Remember, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I felt absolutely phenomenal the day before I got really sick, when I was 17 years old. I felt great. I was playing sports. I was hanging out with my friends. I was, studying. I was doing all the things that normal high school kids usually do. And then all of a sudden one day, I got sick. Well, it wasn't all of a sudden. It was the gradually filling up of my rain barrel. And so what I want to do now is I want to always stay ahead of the curve. So what I do every single year is I run my labs. Now, maybe you don't run the big 5 like I do, but I want to at least give you the opportunity to have someone sign off on those labs for you. Because typically you have to go to your doctor, you have to ask your doctor if they even run these type of underlying root cause-based level labs, not just blood work. These are labs that you can do right at home and get the answers as to what your deficiencies are in terms of vitamins and minerals, and also what your toxicities are. Plus, you can run your hormones, you can run your gut health, you can run cortisol levels, heavy metals. They're all available for you. Just head on over to equilibriumnutrition.com, click the labs tab, and you will see that starting today, they are all on sale at 10% off. This will save you potentially hundreds of dollars. So excited to be able to offer that to you. This is for our community, and you can head on over there while supplies last, and then for probably the next 72 hours or so. So check it out. And again, hopefully you enjoy it. I look forward to reviewing your lab soon. All right, let's get right into today's questions. First question is from Joanna. Joanna is writing, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm writing this question as I cannot find much info about this on any of your podcasts. I have a long medical history, but I'm going to keep it brief. I've had microscopic hematuria now for about 2 years, and I have urine cytology, which was clear, and a cystoscopy, which was normal. Blood and urine show no infections. I've had bladder symptoms such as a need to urinate even when I pass urine, no stinging or pain, and I'm not constantly urinating. So I don't expect interstitial cystitis. I have had a lot of stress in the past, which led to hormonal imbalances and IBS, abdominal cramps, gas, bloating. I wonder if this could all be related. Would you have any insight into what this may cause, why it may cause the microhematuria? I recently signed up for your IHP course and can't wait to get started. Thank you." All right, Joanna, happy to answer this question for you. Joanna used a lot of the medical lingo, so I filled that in the blanks for you. So if you're following along today at stephencabral.com/1143, maybe you're on iTunes, maybe you're on Google Play, whatever you're on. And when you see IC, that means interstitial cystitis. Most people refer to it as that. And then let's talk just a little bit about microscopic hematuria. And it simply means that there's blood in the urine. But, in conventional medicine, we like to use big words. And so that's what we do. And now Joanna knows the lingo, but I don't want everybody else to be confused. So what we're talking about, and typically you can't always see the blood, but you can see it under a microscope, right? So that's what we're looking at. A couple things we want to look at. When we see blood in the urine and sometimes blood in the stool, now it could be something deeper. So we certainly want to rule out cancer and other tumors or polyps, etc. But I know that Joanna's most likely already done that. So now we want to move on to what else would cause urine. And a lot of that is inflammation. So then we would say, why would Joanna have all of this inflammation in her bladder or kidneys, etc.? So I always say, okay, well, I don't know yet. Let me look at what else is going on. It says she's had a lot of stress. Okay, so there might be some hormonal imbalance. But then there's also IBS symptoms. There's also abdominal cramping, gas, and bloating. Wonder if it can all be related. Absolutely. So here's why. Joanna, one thing that all of this ties together, and this can include urinary tract infections and inflammation, which isn't maybe strong enough to feel the urinary tract infection, although you seem to have it because you have the incomplete urination, is you might have an E. coli overgrowth. The way to know this and find out is to run a stool test. Plain and simple. It's actually very easy to run. So you run the stool test. It's a 3-day sample, and it will tell you if you have E. coli overgrowth. It will tell you if you have H. pylori, parasites, a lot of other great information. So can't recommend that enough. And lab number 2 for you would be the organic acids test. If I could choose one more, it would be the food sensitivity test. So Joanna, that's how you will get your answers to the questions of what is ailing you right now. That's the place to start. Of course, if you can run a big five, run a big 5. But if not, I gave you those in the order that finances allow, because I want to be cognizant of that as well. All right. Has Dr. Stephen Cabral ever discussed NAET in any of his podcasts? I searched for it, but nothing came up. I came across any NAET technique in a book that I was reading and wonder what Dr. Cabral thinks of it. Thanks. So this question is from Tanya. Tanya, thank you for writing in. I think I talked about it yesterday. Yes, I talked about it in terms of statin drugs yesterday. So I'm open to anything and everything for everyone. I used NAET, this specific allergy technique. Well, let's see, it was about 2006 or so, right around there. And I did not get results from it. I know many other people that feel like they have gotten some results from it, and I know a lot of people that haven't gotten results from it. Let me tell you my thoughts on why people using this a lot for allergies. Okay. I have to be able to replicate results for people in my practice, which is a global practice. It's virtual. We see people all over the world. I have to be able to replicate that every single time. I can't replicate that with NAET. So what I do is I focus on what the underlying root causes are, which is not NAET based, but I focus on the underlying root causes. So what I say is when people have allergies, there's usually some type of gut microbiome imbalance. There might be a predisposition to increased mast cells or histamines. There could be some leaky gut, intestinal permeability. Typically, there is. And oftentimes, there's lower cortisol. So what I do is I look at those labs and I work to rebalance those things. I'll also look at omega-3 levels and then and heavy metals, et cetera, anything that could cause inflammation. And then also why a Th2 dominant. So that usually has to do with yeast overgrowth or something going on with the gut, right? Some type of intestinal permeability that may have caused this. I know that I can figure out those underlying root causes, again, through lab testing or some other way. I can do it by symptoms. I prefer labs, but I can do it by symptomatology. And then I work to correct those things. So I'm not against NAET. And if you want to go for a few sessions and see if you're getting results from it, I have no problem with that. And I would actually say, good, explore it, enjoy the health realm. Why not? I mean, there's so many great things about this health field. And that's like people ask me like, well, what do you think about crystals? Well, like I don't use crystals in my practice, but am I against them? No. Just because I don't use them doesn't mean that you can't use them and get great results from it. So again, like I'm totally okay with it. And Tanya, hopefully that gave you at least a start. I know it wasn't the definitive answer, but it's just not what I use in my practice. Doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. It's just I don't use it because I can't get replicable results. That's all. Stephen is up next. Hello there. I'm trying to find more information about zeolite. I'd like to hear Dr. Cabral's viewpoint. When I search zeolite in the podcast website, only episode 779 comes up. In that episode, he mentions that he has a couple of episodes on zeolites and to search them in the bar. Could I be missing something? Let's see, Stephen, if you are missing anything, because I've talked about zeolites multiple times on the podcast. I don't know if I ever did a Friday review on them, but for sure I've talked about them many times. So I'm going to type that in right now, zeolites, and we'll see what we find. Okay, Stephen, you know what? You're right. So it is not showing up on the podcast page, even though I've talked about this multiple times. Here's why. Unless I literally title it zeolites, then it won't pop up, or zeolite. So why don't I answer that question right now? You took the time to write in. I should take the time to be able to answer this question. So I'm actually a huge fan of zeolites or zeolite. So, because this is not an easy topic to just kind of give a quick answer on. So why don't I do this? I'm going to go over your answer now because you asked and you deserve an answer. And then what I will do is do a Friday review on zeolites sometime in the future. So zeolites are essentially volcanic minerals like an ash, and they're very high in minerals as well as electrolytes. I'm a fan of zeolites, and here's why. They can actually chelate heavy metals, pesticides, and other toxins in the body and remove them while balancing the body's pH, simply because they're a little higher in alkaline-based minerals. And they do something that a lot of others don't, and that is they're gentler on the kidneys, and they can help with the kidney cleansing as well. We use bentonite, clay, and zeolite together quite often. And we do that so the body doesn't get too depleted of electrolytes. And we also use it because bentonite clay is a great binder, and zeolite is essentially a good chelator. So it can grab onto metals, bring them in for removal, and the bentonite clay can help facilitate that as well in the gut. So we use them in what's called our intestinal cleanse. We recommend an intestinal cleanse once or twice a year, and we absolutely recommend it during the Candida bacterial overgrowth protocol, the parasite protocol, the heavy metal detox, anything where you are removing pathogens from the body. So again, natural zeolites are essentially, the easiest way to put them is they come from the earth, they're cations, they possess binding-based properties, they're higher in pH, meaning like because of the alkaline-based minerals, and they are quite charged and actually excellent. So that's my quick answer. There's so much more I could go into it, and I want to, but I find myself, that's why I'm pausing a little bit. I find myself thinking that I'm going to take 10 minutes to answer this question. So Stephen, I recommend them. Here's where people go wrong with zeolites. They only use zeolites for a detox. They only use zeolites for a cleanse, and they're not enough. They're fantastic. I recommend them as an adjunct, but it's not the only thing. And here's why. It does zero to ramp up phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification, because it just doesn't give you the specific vitamins or minerals or sulfur-based amino acids that support those two. So do I like to say zeolites for everyone? No, but I say zeolites are great in conjunction with an intestinal cleanse and with any other process that you're doing to naturally chelate and remove heavy metals or pesticides or anything like that from the body. So that's my short answer. In the future, absolutely, I will do a longer show on that, probably about a 5-10 minute review on zeolites. Thanks for writing in. Kara is up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, I love listening to your podcast. I have 2 questions. What is your opinion on having a hysterectomy? I'm 38 years old. My husband and I are finished having children. I have very heavy and painful periods that really disrupt my life for a week a month. I'm currently taking estrogen balance after doing the thyroid adrenal hormone test. Although this has helped my mood, it hasn't helped lessen my period symptoms. What is your opinion of the appetite suppressant Hoodia gordonia? It's actually, I know what you're saying, just misspelled just a little bit, but that's not your fault. Okay. So I did a show, I believe Hoodia was on that, on weight loss supplements. So when I gave an unbiased view, I really did. I took it step by step, research by research, and I would love for you to check that out. I don't know if we'll be able to find that on my podcast page. Let's check it out together. So let's go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, and let's type in weight loss supplements. Let's see if that pops up. Weight loss supplements. We have to search together. After 1,143 shows, you never know. But you know what? The search box, it works. That's what I'm telling you. If you have a question, check the search box first. Then you don't have to wait as long, and you can write in that course at Cabral Support Group. They can try to help find the podcast as well. But on episode 574, I did a podcast called Weight Loss Supplements That Actually Work. Check that out first. That will be, I think, a lot of benefit to you. Here's the thing. You're just asking for my opinion, right? Because I'm not giving you medical advice. But what I would say is this. I am not an advocate of changing the human anatomy in any way. That is my opinion, but sometimes we have to. So I totally get that. Sometimes surgery and these types of things are necessary. Now, in your case, though, it looks like it's being done because you don't want to have any more children. And also, you have very heavy and painful periods. Obviously, you not want to have any more children is a personal choice, and that's fine, but that's nothing that I necessarily help with. But the heavy and painful periods, that's something we can help with. So what we want to do is we want to figure out, again, you're taking estrogen balance, which is great. I don't know how long you've been using it. It can often take 12 weeks to really work with the body. I would also like to see that in conjunction with magnesium, higher levels of omega-3, GLA, which is great to add to those omega-3s. We can also do adrenal soothe at night if needed. We want to do things that are going to help really rebalance the body. Now, if we need to, we'll also then move on to some herbal-based products. So one product in particular is called Femerin, Femerin, and you could begin using Femerin as well. So there's multiple things we could do. I don't want to leave this as, okay, well, we tried one nutritional product and that was it. So what I'd love to do is for you to do a follow-up with your health coach, and we can start to work on other things. I don't want you having heavy, painful periods to be a reason for having a hysterectomy. So hopefully that gave you at least, again, but it's my opinion, and you should do what you feel is right for your body. It's your body. I believe that you're allowed to choose what you feel is best for you. Okay, Becky's up next. I've been listening to Dr. Cabral's podcast for quite some time. I'm 43, 5'4", 198 pounds. 7 or 8 years ago, I had a partial hysterectomy. So over the past year, I've started using progesterone cream along with estradiol vaginal cream. I also have diverticulitis with 3 flare-ups in the past few months. Colonoscopy scheduled for February 11th. This question, by the way, was written on January 13th. I'm on day 6 of the 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox. I feel good, lots of bowel movements and pain in my joints, which has now subsided. However, I don't think I've lost any weight yet. I also take Equilibrium CBD oil twice daily. I should also add that I have a high stress family life as my daughter has several health complications, along with a stressful, high-paced career. Last spring, I had functional medicine lab testing, which I would like to share for your review. Please let me know recommended steps. Thank you, Becky. Okay, let's really dissect this. So it's just coincidence. Literally, these questions were back-to-back days. Kara wrote in the day before on January 12th, and Becky wrote in on January 13th, both about hysterectomies. Well, so the thing that we have to do is this. You said you did your functional medicine lab testing a year ago or so, or last spring. It doesn't sound like it was with us. What I would do is I would run the thyroid adrenal hormone lab, and I would make sure that your estrogen and progesterone levels are in balance. I can't recommend that enough, okay? Any woman having menstrual-based issues or any woman in menopause, I recommend just running your levels to make sure where you're at and make sure you're balanced. That's it, okay? Because you're using progesterone cream and you're using a form of estrogen vaginal cream. Both of those, you need to make sure are in the proper ratio. So that's first. Okay, you're on day 6 of the 21-day detox and your pain in your joints has now subsided and you've had good bowel movements. So that's great. That's good. But now you don't think that you've lost any weight. Well, we of course want to do a weigh-in. If you have, let's say you're 5'4", 198 pounds. So probably typical BMI would be somewhere around 130 pounds to 140 pounds for you would be the max weight that your body would typically carry. Now, don't get me wrong, at 5'4", if you're more of an endomorphic body type, you could be a great body weight at 150 pounds. So again, I can't tell you what the right body weight is for you, but most likely at 5'4", 198 pounds, it's going to be somewhere around, let's say, 50 pounds over a healthy weight. Again, this has nothing to do with vanity. It has nothing to do with that. This is about me trying to help you live the longest life possible. And I just know with the BMI above 24.9, there's going to be more increased risk for a lot of health complications. We won't go through those today. If you'd like to learn more about those, just check out my podcast I did on body mass index, BMI. You can type that into the search box and you'll find it. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, if someone doesn't lose 5 pounds after 7 days on the detox and they have, let's say in your case, 40, 50 pounds that they would like to lose or could be able to lose, doesn't mean that you have to, that this signals some type of either hormonal issue, inflammatory issue, cortisol issue, blood sugar issue, thyroid issue. All of those can be figured out for the most part, besides the gut-based issues, on a thyroid adrenal hormone. So Becky, really straightforward. I recommend running the thyroid adrenal hormone. Like without a doubt, that is the one lab for you. If you can run a second, you're going to run the organic acids test. No doubt about it. Those are the 2 labs that I would recommend. Of course, I recommend the big 5 whenever possible, but those are the 2 most important that I'm recommending for you. Once we have that data, we can actually give you recommendations based on blood sugar, on thyroid, on cortisol, and on gut function if we run the organic acids test. It really, that's my thing. The detox for 9.9 out of 10 people is going to be exactly what they need to jumpstart their health, jumpstart their weight loss, whatever they're looking for, their anti-aging goals. But we always say for that less than 1, that 0.5, 0.1, we need to do something a little bit more. And I've always said that. I've always maintained that there is no one for everyone in the world, but there is a program for everyone. And there absolutely is an answer for everyone. So don't stop the search. Keep on going strong. You will find your answer, Becky. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. That's the end of today's Cabral HouseCall. Really do appreciate you checking it out. And again, there will be no special notice for the pop-up special lab offer. If interested, if it feels like the right fit for you, love you to join me this coming week where I get my labs and you get yours and we can run them together. So check those out over at equilibriumnutrition.com and always feel free to reach out to my team if we can help in any way. Thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.